COVID is also causing new concerns at the Tokyo Olympics. This morning, we're learning a member of the U.S. women's gymnastics team tested positive for COVID-19. And this comes after U.S. tennis star Coco Gauff pulled out of the games after she tested positive. Foreign correspondent James Longman has the latest on that.
One of Team USA's biggest stars, Coco Gauff, is out of the Olympic Games after testing positive for COVID-19. The 17-year-old tennis phenomenon found out just before travelling for Tokyo, tweeting, "It has always been a dream of mine to represent the USA at the Olympics, and I hope there will be many more chances for me to make this come true in the future." Her teammates sitting down with our Rob Marciano just after the news broke.
Obviously, she's going to be disappointed. She'll be sad. But, you know, she has so much potential to do great things in this sport, and I know she will.
Gauff, the highest profile athlete so far to test positive, but as hundreds of athletes arrive in Tokyo, the threat of testing positive or being contact traced looms large. Two South African soccer players now in isolation. If they have to quarantine for 14 days, it would derail their competitions. And a group of British gymnasts isolating after a case was detected on their flight. This as we learn more about that member of the Olympic Committee with the virus. The South Korean official tested positive at the airport. It's understood he was fully vaccinated. As all IOC officials are, he too is now isolating at a separate facility.
And Diane, things are going from bad to worse for Olympic organisers here. It's emerged that the composer of the music for the opening ceremony, that's in just 4 days' time, has had to resign because of allegations that he bullied mentally ill children when he was younger. Diane?
Foreign correspondent James Longman, thank you. And for more on COVID's impact on the Olympics, let's go to our own Kamo in Tokyo. Yep, Kenneth Moten has finally been released from quarantine. Kenneth, looking good there in your USA colors. What's going on? So I know the opening ceremonies are just 4 days away. What's it like there right now?
Well, first, Diane, hello from Tokyo. And also, we had that initial quarantine here at the hotel when I landed. But now we're in this 14-day quarantine, in this media bubble, as we call it, where we can go around the city, but we've got to stay in our private transport. We can't go into public spaces. We can't get on trains, buses, or anything like that. But I will say the moment that I touched down here in Tokyo, I could feel this very unprecedented event happening. The fact that, yes, we've got the Olympics, but we've also got this pandemic that we're dealing with as this country tries to keep 11,000 athletes, its citizens, and tens of thousands of people connected to these Olympic Games safe from COVID-19. But I will say, Diane, it was one of the most intense customs and immigration process I've ever gone through. A number of checkpoints, hours inside the Narita airport when I landed here as I checked documents. Again, we're being tracked by an app on our phone by the Japanese government. We also have to put in our daily temperature. We have to do daily saliva tests as well. So we're still in that 14-day bubble, as I mentioned. But we were still able to go out and talk to some people, certain places where we can go. We were able to talk to some Japanese people, and I can tell you that Olympic spirit you typically feel, Diane, for the Summer Games. We're just not feeling it here in Tokyo. I know there's a few days ago until the Friday opening ceremonies, but when we talk to Japanese people, they just do not want these games, concerned about COVID-19, the state of emergency, and a surge in coronavirus cases.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been incredibly disappointing for them to not even be able to attend the games after all this work went into putting them on. But Kenneth, what do we know about this U.S. gymnast who's tested positive?
Well, we know she's a teenager. We also know that she was part of the artistic gymnastics team for Team USA. She was called a replacement athlete or an alternate. We know that she's being isolated, quarantined. They're also quarantining another athlete that she came into close contact with. And Diane, this really shows you how things can change for an athlete just like that. A person who was trained really more than 4 years, their hopes and their dreams can be derailed in an instant because of a positive test. These athletes, the media, people here connected to these games are tested every single day. And so, yes, you can have false positives, but any positive case, there's a whole list of protocols that go into effect pretty quickly here in Tokyo. And so that's what we're seeing with these athletes. mentioned that, and James mentioned that we had a couple of athletes in the Olympic Village as well who tested positive. And so we know isolation and quarantine, that's immediately what happens when it comes to the protocol.
And are they prepared for the possibility of an outbreak at the Olympic Village? What happens if that comes to play?
They say they're ready. I will say that when we were out and about today, we made our way over to Olympic Village. We know that there are checkpoints in place for all these athletes as they register, they go through, they, again, take more COVID tests, show all of their documents. Again, there were 2 COVID tests that people coming from the U.S. had to take, one 96 hours before travel, one 72 hours before travel, before even getting to Tokyo. They say they're ready. They have contingency plans in place. Again, isolation, quarantine is what they're doing for each positive case. We've had about 55 positive cases since July 1st connected to these games. And even though they say they're ready, over the Olympic Village today, we saw a lot of confusion when it comes to the process about who can be where they can be. And I think that uncertainty for these athletes is just a lot, Diane, when you truly think about they're training for this, they've got all of this pressure on them, and now they've got to worry about all these testing protocols and making sure they're safe and making sure that they know their surroundings and who's next to them, who they're coming in contact with, because again, one positive case can derail their hopes.
And I have to ask about the bed thing. What is the deal with the beds at the Olympic Village? Because we've been told they're made out of cardboard so they can be easily recycled, but some of the athletes are now saying they're designed to discourage intimacy. Talk to us here.
Now, you know Mama Moten is watching this, right? And you want me to talk about what's going on in the Olympic Village, Diane? No, yes,
Give
we
us
know.
the
Okay,
dirt.
so
Come
we know
on.
the stories when it. Right. I actually have friends, Diane, texting me, sending me social media messages saying, "Get to the bottom of this." Over the weekend, everyone was talking about this. It was all over the place, Diane. And I did some investigative reporting, KMO in Tokyo. I got to the bottom of things. And what I found out is that apparently it's being overblown. Yes, they don't want these athletes, mingling. We know that in past games, when it comes to these athletes who are in peak fitness, looking all sexy and everything else like that, they train hard bodies. I'll leave it there. Things happen, and these are adults inside the Olympic Village, and we know that things will happen, and so they're trying to discourage that from happening. And so, yeah, there is this kind of flimsy bed, but apparently it's not that flimsy because Team Ireland gymnast Rhys McClenaghan, he actually showed and tried to debunk this myth about the beds on social media. He got on it. He was jumping up and down, doing a lot of things on the bed with his clothes on. But nothing happened. The bed didn't collapse, and that was it. So what happens in Olympic Village stays in Olympic Village, even in Tokyo, Diane.
So if you manage to break the bed, that is an Olympic-worthy event then. Kenneth Moten in Tokyo, we appreciate it. Thank you, friend. Investigative journalism at its best.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.